Welcome back, PE 108 students. We got lectures 5 and 6 this week. Moving on to week 3. Time's flying by. So here we go. The two lectures today are based on the American Council for Sports Medicine guidelines. I'm supposed to give this information out to you guys in order for you to set standards, but I have my own opinions on these things, so I'll kind of go through them and we'll talk in a little bit more detail. So, lecture number 1 is going to be on how much exercise you should be getting per week based on the ACSM guidelines yet again. So, for ages 18 to 65, the ACSM states that you should be getting moderate aerobic activity for 30 minutes a day, at least 5 days per week, or you should be getting vigorous aerobic activity 3 days a week for 20 minutes. Okay. Again, we have to relate these back to our goals. If aerobic fitness is kind of on the back burner, if you're more focused on strength, if you're focused on muscle hypertrophy or muscle building, right? Maybe this won't be fit for you. But again, these are just the guidelines that the ACSM has put out in order to reduce risk of different diseases, injury, so on and so forth, all the stuff that we went over in the benefits of exercise in week 1, right? So if you're taxing your aerobic system, it decreases your chances of cardiorespiratory diseases, cancer, risk of injury, right? And it might even change your body composition a little bit. Those are just the very basic guidelines for the aerobic side of things. In terms of resistance training, they say that participants should be engaging in resistance training activities to increase muscular strength and muscle building for a minimum of 2 days per week. They did not set any type of guidelines on how long these sessions should be, how much load intensity these should be at. So again, it's kind of left up to you. 2 days per week, right? So that leaves a lot of wiggle room for us to interpret. Again, what you're going to be doing within the gym should be based on your goals, and we'll be going over different types of programming for different types of goals in the next couple weeks. I'm personally a big believer in attacking all aspects of fitness, right? Cross training is actually a really, really good way in order to keep our muscles, tendons, and ligaments and bones all in the best shape possible, right? So not just doing one thing repetitive every day, unless that's your sport, right? So say I am a marathon runner, I'm going to be running different days at different intensities, different distances, so on and so forth. But that's my sport, right? That doesn't mean I shouldn't be cross training. That's a big misconception out there that runners don't need to resistance train. There's tons of literature out there to support that. Okay, they need to resistance train in order to keep those tendons, ligaments, and bones in healthy shape in order to endure those longer distance runs. And that's part of the reason why these guidelines are a little bit iffy, just because they are so generalized and they are mostly trying to focus on getting people active. So that's why the standards are a little bit lower, right? In our nation, we're fighting a huge war on obesity, and that has a lot to do with the nutrition aspect of things, which we'll get into later. But we need to be able to move our bodies well, not only to help our physical body, but to help our minds. So I think that's kind of what the ACSM is trying to go for, not setting the standard too high, telling people to go out and exercise an hour and a half per day, right? But they're trying to make those SMART goals. They're trying to make it reasonable for people to be encouraged to go out and move a little bit more. We'll be going over how often you should exercise based on your goals in about a couple weeks. From here, we're going to move on to lecture 2, which is the 5 components of fitness based on the ACSM guidelines, okay? To go over the 5 basic things, we have cardiovascular endurance, muscular strength, muscular endurance, flexibility, and body composition. So let's break each one of those down. Definition of muscular strength is the ability for the muscles to produce force in a single effort. Okay, so this can be going into several different things. It can be going for a 1 rep max, some type of plyometric exercise like a jump, right? Something quick, fast twitch. The definition of muscular endurance is the ability for the muscle to continue to produce force against a continuous resistance. From there, we move on to flexibility, okay? Flexibility and mobility can interchange very frequently. So I like to break down the two definitions in my class. That way we're not getting the terms mixed up, okay? So flexibility is the muscle's ability to stretch between two joints through a passive range of motion, okay? So if you were to keep your legs locked and try and bend over and touch your toes, that would be testing your hamstring flexibility. Mobility is the muscle's ability to stretch and move through a range of motion at a joint actively, okay? So this is where we can find restrictions in our mobility, right? If you are unable to reach a full depth squat, there can be different mobility restrictions within your ankles, knees, and hips, correct? In those muscles that are attaching to both of those joints. Flexibility feeds into mobility, but is not the opposite way around, right? So actually the literature currently out is stating that we are putting too much emphasis on flexibility when we should be emphasizing mobility a little bit more. So an example is if you are restricted in your range of motion within a squat, okay, you can front load yourself with a plate or a kettlebell, sink down as deep as you can in your squat and hold that position, okay? That's gonna be working on your mobility because you are going to be active in that position and you're trying to sink lower and lower. Flexibility, again, is going to add into that, okay? So stretching the structures in the hips, knees, and ankles will eventually help lead you into a deeper squat, but working on the mobility is gonna be super, super important. All right, and that gets us into the fifth component of fitness, which is gonna be body composition, right? This is basically just what your body is made up of and how it is distributed throughout your body. So we can talk about essential and non-essential tissue, right? Essential tissue is going to be your organs, lean muscle mass, bones, all those type of things. Non-essential is going to be fatty tissue around those other structures, okay? And body composition feeds a lot into nutrition, which we'll be going over later in the quarter. So this part of the quarter I really enjoy because this lecture feeds directly into our workouts or actually our testing for this class. So we are going to be testing 3 components of the 5 components of fitness within this class. I'll break it down in the workout videos, but we will be testing your cardiorespiratory endurance, your muscular strength, and your muscular endurance. So hop on over to workouts 5 and 6. And number 5 is going to be your testing, your baseline testing week, where we'll be testing those 3 different components. And then we will be going over the hip hinge, with a little bit of a conditioning workout as well, per usual at the end of that. All right, have a good week. I'll see you guys next week.